Debbie Heights, I'm here with Amanda Spears and Matt Noble to talk about episode 2 of season 7 of Game of Thrones, Stormborn. There's so much to unpack and so much to talk about. I'm going to Matt first. Matt, what was the highlight of the episode for you?
It's hard to say, but like it really was like I was watching 50 Shades of Grey with like Grace. What was it? We had Greyscale being cured by Sam, Greyworm's first sex scene, and Greyjoy versus Greyjoy on the sea.
That's
There's grey wherever you look. Yeah.
It's just so much grey.
Yeah, I like the last 10 minutes. I like the big pirate attack. Oh, that was really good.
Okay, because we were going to say how much we didn't like the last 10 minutes, but I'm glad that you liked Pirates of the Caribbean Stormborn. I thought it was pretty bad. Amanda, what was your highlight of the episode?
Well, I love Arya, so now she's decided to give up on killing Cersei and she's going home. As we know from last season, that wasn't in the play version she saw that caught her up today. So that's interesting. And then Nymeria came back.
Yeah.
So that was cute. But like her, it wasn't just going to listen. So.
Yeah, that's so true. For me, just generally speaking, I felt that this episode could have been subheaded like the payoff episode. There was so much payoff. It was great. It was like after years of disparate storylines across Westeros and Essos, all of these characters are finally converging together, and it was like a drug. It felt so satisfying to see like Lady Olenna and Daenerys across the table from each other, and having like the Greyjoys there, and the people are starting to converge, and I think that's so cool because it means that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel that's coming, and that's very exciting.
That was one of my favorite scenes was Diana Rigg and Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, like really, that was brilliant. And when Olenna said, you know, be a dragon, the look on Daenerys' face was very satisfying. So
yeah, Olenna knew how to speak in language that would appeal to Daenerys.
Exactly. She knew exactly what to hit. She knew exactly where to go. Let's talk about the last 10 minutes though, man, because I was in this episode. I was loving it. I was like, this is fantastic. It's the best episode I've seen so far, maybe. And then the last 10 minutes just was like, yeah, I'm not really happy with this because I just don't think the Euron Greyjoy character is very good. It was very piratey. He was very kind of like, he was weird. And it was very, very violent as usual. That didn't really bother me so much, but it didn't work for me. Matt, what did you love about it?
What I loved about it was that we saw something that we haven't really seen before on Game of Thrones, and that was an epic battle at sea. So we saw a bit on ships with the battle at Blackwater, but not really like ship attacking ship. And I sort of liked how we saw that, and like it was epic. I thought it looked really amazing and how it was shot. So I don't know. That's what sort of I loved about it was that we saw a battle on an epic scale that was different to the other battles we'd seen on the show. And I thought that was really added a new dimension to it, that it was on a boat and that there was I like the piratiness of it. I want to see in the final season of Game of Thrones zombies and pirates and dragons and direwolves all like sort of coming to the forefront. So that was great. But Euron Greyjoy, he seems so excited. Like the look on his face as he let down that like bridge onto the thing and just sort of swung in there. He was like having the time of his life. He was the most like happy pirate I've like seen in a long time.
That's a good point. It's like, yeah, you're right. He was super happy. Maybe we should have been thinking like, well, I want what he's having. He's obviously on something, or he's just really happy to be there, ready to start killing people from dawn, perhaps, and his fellow kin. I don't know. Like, Amanda, what did you think?
I don't know if Yara is enough of a present to get Cersei to marry him. I mean, I think Tyrion's head would definitely get her to put a ring on it, but I don't think that his niece is enough of a gift.
Yeah.
What about though, like what about the Martells, who like were responsible for killing her daughter?
I don't know if that would be necessarily enough. I don't think Cersei's one who wants to jump into a marriage to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think she's marrying this guy. Like,
well, but that's what he wants. He's set his price. So he's not really a character who interests me. I am a little happy that they didn't take 7 episodes to get to this big fight like they usually would have. We got it in episode 2. And it's not really, I think, going to hurt Daenerys enough.
Yeah, good point.
I think if Daenerys could have lost anyone, she's sort of glad these guys have been taken and not like Tyrion or Lena or.
I think the problem with like Lena, not Elena, but the Sands, and then
the Sand Snakes.
The Sand Snakes, and then the mother. I can't remember her character's name.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, there's so many. But I think, she's probably going to cause problems with Tyrion, so it might have it might have helped Daenerys out a little bit, because those two were going to keep going back and forth at each other, and we really don't need that at this stage.
We just don't need it. I was sad to see Oscar nominee Keisha Castle Hughes meet her demise. That was sad. I was just sad for her generally. But we've moved. People have been killed off, and we're moving forward. And let's focus more on, I think, the MVP of this episode for me. And no surprise, it was Emilia Clarke. I just think she is so good as this character. Love her, and I love the way Daenerys is really starting to come into her own. She's been doing that for seasons, but I think now more than ever, she is so regal and so intimidating. And I love that about her. What did you guys think of Emilia Clarke?
I think depending on how next week goes with her and Kit Harington meeting for the first time, this is the season to move those two up to the lead acting races. They've never won. It would at least free up maybe another spot in the supporting actor race for maybe Nikolai Coster-Waldau. Supporting actress maybe for Sophie Turner, but it would give them a chance to maybe win one more award. If those two characters, now that the worlds are merging again, it makes sense to put someone in the lead race. And moving Peter Dinklage doesn't make sense. He's won twice. Leave him alone. Moving Kit Harington and maybe moving Emilia Clarke up kind of makes sense if those two epic characters are the ones that are going to bring kind of peace to the world.
Like, that's not a bad point. Like, part of me thinks it's going to be hard for Emilia Clarke to win the lead actress category, but hard to say when I haven't seen the material of what she does. And it could be a move also to be made in the season after this one, depending on at what point those storylines hit their sort of crescendos. But Emilia is great. Daenerys has always been my favorite character on the show. And Emilia has, in season 1, I thought like that was the performance that I think was the best performance from season 1. And as Game of Thrones moved on, like I think different seasons you have different best performances on that show. I think there's years when certain actors have sort of their storyline has a bit more of a peak and a bit more of a trough. But yeah, and I think she's really stepping into this new sort of role. Like, she's sort of come to Westeros with a sort of like calmness and a like sort of, okay, I'm ready to start ruling and make the decisions. She's sitting back. I'm waiting for her to really step out though. And like, I haven't seen her step out. She seems to be doing a lot of listening at the moment, doing a lot of sort of waiting. And I'm looking more for the episode where she just takes charge and is a bit more of an active player. Yeah.
I don't think her plan is a bad plan, though, or Tyrion's plan, which is to have Westeros take Westeros for her, and then starve out King's Landing.
Yeah, and
that's not a bad plan.
She's very calculating, and even when she was having that discussion with Varys, and you're calling him out on being a traitor or being very self-serving, and he admitted that. And they pretty much have come to an agreement, so to speak, or a realization that they can work together for, to kind of better both of their agendas. And I really enjoyed that part of the episode. And it was just two people kind of talking, but it really it had a lot of weight, and I thought it was delivered beautifully. The same thing goes for when Elena and the Dawn people and the Greyjoys are also in there, and they're all kind of just talking around a table. It was a very kind of cliched military movie kind of scene where everyone's sitting around a table and they're strategizing with like little, figurines. But it worked. It worked really, really well. I loved it.
The scene with
go.
I was going to say the scene with Daenerys and Varys was like two heavy hitters of the game, really like sort of grappling with each other. Not argue. They were arguing, but they're sort of on the same side. It wasn't like a massive fight necessarily, and they both had interesting points that I sort of bought into at different times that I didn't know quite where it was going. So I really like that. And then like Elena and Daenerys, same sort of thing, where less tension in that conversation, but it was the same where, oh man, these are two heavy hitters of the game. Like that are content, like trying to figure out what the best way is to move forward, and I love that. And then the scene with all of them, it's sort of like, oh man, we've got like the dream team, like all these like characters from like some of my favorite characters from Game of Thrones, and now all together strategizing together. This is like an all-star Survivor season or something.
Yeah.
And a Diana Riggs episode count begins. So
yeah,
Tom Wilkinson is already at 2.
Yeah,
Diana Riggs at 1.
She's at 1. So we'll see how many does she need. How many episodes are there? 8 or 6?
3.
There's 7. There's 7 episodes.
So she needs to be in 3 or less. Otherwise, she's in supporting. For all the people who don't know what we're talking about, we just always conscious about where people will be submitted at the Emmys because we're super nerds for that stuff. And we are now counting episodes. I was doing the same thing in my head, which is quite sad. But, we're all on the same page, which is cool.
Speaking of, like, did you guys get, like, deja vu when Jon Snow, like, pushed Littlefinger into the wall? Because that was, like, his father or Ned Stark's big mistake was, getting on the wrong side of Littlefinger. So I was like, ooh, that's not good. Is a smart idea.
That was in the show. That was in the episode, I think, for a reason. And I was just saying out loud, crazily, just kill him. Siri, just kill him now. What are you doing? Don't let this go because he's going to come back to bite you. So that's a concern.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see Littlefinger's influence, like in the north, while Jon is away, because it looks like we got the big Jon-Dany meeting. Again, we had a Jon and Sansa argument in front of the whole community. I
know that.
Well, I think it's just the fear of what happened when they all left the last time. I don't think he really wanted to argue with him as much as she was just like, do you remember what happened the last time we all left?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Jon need to, like, walk to Sansa about what he's going to be announcing beforehand? Like, should she really get a heads up on what he's doing? Like,
no.
Like, things are bad when, like, everybody looks at the 10-year-old and goes, oh, she's not happy with him.
Yeah.
Like all these grown men are like, okay, the 10-year-old's not happy.
You shouldn't be pissing off the 10-year-old queen. She is scary. Love her.
I love that actress.
She's fantastic. So, but, like, Jon Snow is, like, going to make her the, like, commander of the North or the whatever. Like, she's got to run everything. You think, like, he'd just check she was okay for that position. Like, if I'm at work and my boss is, like, leaving for a bit and they want me to take their job, be their acting... They're not going to say, like, just in front of the whole staff, oh, yeah, I'm going to the New York office for the next sort of month. And people going, who's going to run things? Go, Matt's going to run things. And I'm like, oh, really? Like,
cool. When were you going to hand over all of your matters? Thanks for that.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
So anyway.
So thinking more about other little highlights that I can remember, I really loved seeing Melisandre turn up at Dragonstone to tell Daenerys. It was more like a chess piece scene, like just to trying to get the exposition, get the storyline moving. But I just loved having her there as well to say, like, girl, you need to work out what's going on in the north because Jon Snow and Lara. And I just thought that was really cool. I loved seeing those two characters again, disparate characters converging together to kind of meet up and move forward. That was excellent. What did you guys think of her? I love that character.
I think conquering the army of the dead is a smart move to try and take Westeros. I mean, because if you save everybody from this horrible invasion of these, you know, White Walkers, that's another interesting way.
Yeah, I think that was pretty interesting. I like that. I was less a fan of the love scene with her and Grey Worm. It's not a relationship I'm particularly invested in. I think it went on quite a long amount of time for the episode. Like that was so like, okay, yeah, great. Like
to see Missandei and Grey Worm kind of getting it on, I was cringing a little. Like, I was like, please don't let us see what's going on down there.
Yeah, I've always been very grateful to Game of Thrones for showing a little bit of restraint.
Yeah,
and they've never shown us a flayed, what it looks like down there when it's flayed, and I appreciate that. Like, because you know we had the Greyworm, the Greyscale, and that was,
oh my god, that was disgusting.
And then the like cut to the soup. I'm like, I won't be eating French onion soup anytime soon. It's like, what in the world?
They're doing a lot of that. Like last week we had the turds and like the meals that Sam was cleaning from the bedpans and the bowls. And this week we had the Greyscale being sliced off Jorah and then the guy eating the really crunchy soup. And it was disgusting.
I did like Jorah and Samwell. It's like Samwell feels like he owes Jorah to do this for the Mormont family. That I kind of like is like, well, you know, no one else is going to help you.
Like, sounds like the guy who goes on WebMD and like tries to like, you know, like he's gone to the doctor. The doctor said, look, there's really nothing we can do. And he's like, look, I've read about a case.
Yeah.
The guy, could you just do this? And he's like, no, we can't do that. And then he goes, you know what? I reckon I could do it. I'm going to get the surgical tools.
I think if it was anyone else but a Mormont, he wouldn't have done it. But because of who he is and what
he thought he'd give it a go.
Witnessed at the Night's Watch, you kind of understand why. Okay, you know, I might kill myself, but let's try.
Let's give it a
like,
shot.
hold on, let me take a swig of whatever this is first, and then you can drink.
I love how the doctor at first was like, or the Meister at first was like, you should just cut your hand off straight away or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
the
my
Walking
thought
Dead
too.
strategy. Yeah, like I was like,
cut it off. Yeah, that was all really gross, but it was enjoyable. I was also taken aback once again by Maisie Williams and her acting performance. So when she encounters the direwolves, that was really beautiful. But most of all was when she's just having that like lunch, and she hears that Jon Snow is now the King of the North. She didn't say a lot, but the look on her face and the expressions that she was kind of delivering were really, really good. Like they were, again, another payoff for us. And it was very satisfying to see her now make the realization that Cersei's not going anywhere. She can deal with her later. She needs to be reunited with her brother up in the north. And she's going.
Hot Pie's the only one who got like a happy ending in this whole thing. So
yeah, very cool.
Knock on wood. We got. I love the look on Hot Pie's face when he's like, "Oh, I thought you would have gone to Winterfell, not like down south." And she's going, "Why would I go to the Winterfell? Like the Boltons run Winterfell." And he like looked at her like, "That was like last season."
Where have you been?
Yeah, he's like, "That was like we had the whole Battle of the Bastards."
that wasn't
like,
in the play she saw in
Yeah.
Davos,
Yes.
so
Yes.
she's not.
That hadn't
She's not in the caught up version. She's a season behind.
Yeah. She's not seeing the whole picture. So now she is, and that's cool. I'm glad that she's doing that. And the final thing I was going to raise for me was the scene in the catacombs where Cersei is being shown the dragon weapon or whatever the hell you want to call it, the big skull, and I just obviously that's more it's an ominous thing. So it's leading up to, I guess, how they're going to battle Daenerys's dragons, and I thought that was really effective. And I was a bit concerned. I'm very worried for the dragons. I kind of love them so much. I don't want them to be hurt, which is quite sad, really. But
they spent a lot of money on those dragons, so
they sure did. Those dragons are keeping that network going, aren't they? So, yeah, what did you think about that scene, Matt?
I thought it was pretty cool. Like, it's interesting. We had the earlier scene where the guy sort of goes, okay, like, what are we? I think, was it Jamie said, what are we going to do about the dragons? And then the guy was like, oh, I've got something in mind. We've been working on something. So then he takes Cersei down to the dragon chair, and you go, oh, I wonder what this is. Some magic potions, some amazing thing. Like, and he like pulls off the bed sheet, like, it's a giant crossbow. It's just, we built a really big crossbow. Like, I got the best blacksmith in town, and he's made the biggest crossbow. Yeah, and then they shot the skeleton with it. And as funny as that sort of was on one level, I also thought it was really effective and cool. And yeah, I do think we're going to see a dragon die at some point. It might be next season. It might not be this season. It might be next season. I think, like, I'm hoping that at least one dragon survives to the end of the series. I think it would be very sad if dragons became extinct again in sort of, well, the world, I guess.
Well, they will be extinct. None of them are women, so it's not like they can.
Yeah, well, I guess I'd like one of them to die of old age, though, and not the giant crossbow. And yeah, so I think it'll be interesting if a dragon dies, how Daenerys will react to that, because I think, as much as we complained for all these years, her just faffing around in Essos, the good thing is she has sort of confronted a lot of her demons and come very, like, with less sort of emotional baggage. Like, yeah. I guess she got emotional baggage, but like she's dealt with and processed a lot of stuff that really it would have been a harm for her to process on while she's trying to get that Iron Throne. So stuff like coming to terms with who her father really was. She realizes he was the Mad King now. She's not having to deal with that sort of family stuff. She's dealt with it. She's done the therapy. She's done whatever she needs to do. She can now get on with taking over the throne with a level head. A dragon dies, that could really set her off.
I think it depends on which dragon is. If it's not, as long as it's not Dracarys, I think she would be a little bit...
Like, it's Sophie's choice. They're all her children.
I know, but Dracarys is always the one that's been closest to her emotionally, I think. It's the one who saved her life.
Yeah. I'm going to just set off. I don't want to.
As long as it doesn't become like a White Walker dragon, then.
Oh my God, that's a good point. We saw a giant White Walker last week. So that could be something. If that happens, I'm going to give you complete credit for that one. If we have a chance.
Breathes ice. They're not fire.
Yeah, my God. Okay, we're totally geeking out, which is totally acceptable.
Yeah. But anyway, so...
yeah, that's a good point. I think that's a very good point, because she's matured and she's ready. She's had to ready herself for this very big task ahead of taking over the whole continent. It's not nothing.
If she doesn't end up on the throne, I'm going to be very upset.
I'm going to be devastated.
Well, I think it depends on the reason why she doesn't end up on the throne. If it's because Jon Snow is...
the rightful
heir, and she's okay with it, then that's different than her getting stabbed in the back.
No, I'll be fuming. I'll be fuming if Jon Snow ends up on the throne and not Amelia, not Daenerys Targaryen. I'll be
the whole
very upset. I'll be like
sitting on the throne with the dragons behind her, with this look on her face, like done.
Did it? Yeah.
That's how it has to end. Then I'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't care the reason.
So what main character do you guys think is going to die this season, since there's usually at least one that gets kicked off?
Main character, because we're going to see lots of deaths, but
yeah,
I don't think Cersei's going to die yet. I think we're going to wait until the next season. But could be Jamie. I'm thinking it's going to be someone pretty bloody big. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Who's expendable? Amanda, you asked the question. You must have an opinion.
I think it might be Jamie. I honestly think it's either going to be Jamie or maybe like Varys or Littlefinger are both going to go, and that kind of an epic.
Interesting.
Yeah, like there aren't many people who seem that expendable at the moment. Like you could lose Sansa perhaps, like because this like Jon Snow and 2 Starks. Do you need all of those Starks
It's a lot of
still in the
stuff.
final season? Like, I like them all, so I'm not. I don't want to see one of them die. Like, you know, sort of like, yeah, like is Yara Greyjoy too much of a too minor a character to count? Like, I think she could be in trouble because I don't see her having heaps of leverage moving forward.
What's happening with her? Does Euron have her now? I didn't quite get that. I think I was just freaking out so much I didn't quite understand. Is he now taking her back to King's Landing?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure whether he was going to behead her and just bring her head or bring the whole package. I just don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, like if he's bringing like her head or part of her body or something, we didn't see that thing. Like, so, like we could see him rock up to Cersei and go, "Look whose head I've got." Like, yes. But if that's the case, that will happen between episodes.
Yeah. All right, that's pretty cool. So, a quick final thoughts, and we're going to wrap up. Amanda, anything?
Jon Snow, Daenerys. I mean, that's the only thing that mattered in the previews for next week.
Yeah.
You've been waiting a long time to see these worlds come to this point. So I'm hoping for a big payoff.
Good. I agree.
It's sort of like the final season of Lost, where like it's now just taking everyone like less than an episode to get between places that took a season to get between in the first season of the show. So that's sort of like interesting. I'm pretty excited. There's a part of me that's wondering with Game of Thrones, how much are we veering into the territory of just like pleasing fans? Like just like, we know that if we put Jon Snow and Daenerys together and write them a few good lines, the fans are going to love this.
I've never cared about pleasing fans. I mean, we've seen Sansa be raped. We've seen them, behead
maybe
Stark.
Now that we're closing it out, maybe they're thinking, all right, let's give them what they want. Let's give them what they want. Maybe.
So I've got 2 thoughts about that. One is like, I'm worried about just too much focus on pleasing the fans. I'm also worried, a bit cautious of going, everything's looking quite good at the moment. What is coming? Like, what's going to come? But like, part of me sees Jon and Dany like having a bit of a like argument, looking at each other like we don't quite trust you, but then being like good friends by the end of the episode. And I'm just wondering if like, it's a fine line when you're wrapping up a season of not like just forcing things that just people have been waiting for ages. And I'm just curious to see how they're going to execute it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.